Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Choy. I'm a senior lecturer and program director of BSc Honors in Pharmaceutical Chemistry program at the School of Pharmacy, IMU. Welcome to the live series talk this afternoon. And today we have Dr. Lee Choy Sin, who is the head of Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry in School of Pharmacy at IMU. The title of the talk today is Why is a Pharmaceutical Chemist Essential in a Pandemic? Now, before we proceed further, there are a few housekeeping rules. We have muted the microphones for all the participants. So if you have any questions and feedback, you may post it in the chat box. After the talk, we will open the floor for Q&A. All right, so with that, Dr. Lee, you may take away.
Thank you, Dr. Chong. Good afternoon, everyone. So, yeah, indeed, it is my privilege and pleasure to have the opportunity to share with you some of my experience in pharmaceutical chemistry, and also to share with you the roles of pharmaceutical chemists during a pandemic. I will start my presentation by introducing myself. I'm the head of department for pharmaceutical chemistry. So I will give you some of my background, my career, and my some of the milestones that I have achieved. So before I talking about my career journey, maybe you want to ask me why did I choose chemistry profession. So I have chosen chemistry during my first degree is because of I feel that chemistry is very colorful and chemistry is very beautiful as well, because you can see a lot of different colors from chemical reactions, and also you see a lot of beautiful products from the chemical reactions, and you can produce a lot of things, and I'm that kind of person that I like to make new things. So I joined the University of Malaysia and after that I graduated with my first degree from University of Malaysia in 2003 for my Bachelor of Science honors in Applied Chemistry. After graduations, I received a scholarship from Malaysian Palm Oil Board to undertake my master and PhD study. And after that, I worked as a research officer in a polymer industry in 2007. And I then graduated with my PhD from University of Malaysia in 2008. And then I joined the IMU Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry as a lecturer in 2008. Our Bachelor of Science honors in Pharmaceutical Chemistry launched in 2008, and we are the first university offering this pharmaceutical chemistry program. Coming from the background of polymer chemistry, I am fascinated to actually to explore more on the applications of the polymer into the drug delivery system. And for those that you are not familiar with chemistry, polymer is actually a macromolecule. So in layman term, you guys call it as plastics. So plastic is actually one type of synthetic polymer. So polymer, they are natural polymer and also the synthetic polymer. So for the natural polymer examples, they are like the starch and cellulose. So after joining IMU, I have the privilege to work with researchers and experts in the healthcare disciplines, and therefore I start to explore how can I actually make use of the polymer chemistry into the applications of the drug delivery system, and also for some of the biomedical applications. Hence, I started to apply some external grant. I am honored and lucky that I received quite a number of these national and international grant to explore the novel synthesis of the polymer from natural resources, and to explore its functional application in drug delivery, as well as to exploring in the producing polymer scaffold for tissue engineering purposes. And then I was promoted to senior lecturer in 2015. Between 2015 to 2018, I have filed 2 patents in Malaysia, and one of it has been extended to regional countries, which is Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And also in 2016, I also secured another external grant from the Malaysian Palm Oil Board as a PI. And then in 2017, our research team, we competed in the ITEX 2017. ITEX is the International Invention, Innovation and Technology Exhibitions. So we won a silver medal in the category of materials for our research product on the antimicrobial agent for polymeric coating, protective coating purposes. And in 2017, I am happy to share that I was awarded the Best Academic Award by the students, and also the IMU Teaching Excellence Award by the universities. So this is indeed, these 2 awards is the most rewarding recognitions for a teacher. So in 2018, I am appointed as the head of department for pharmaceutical chemistry. Despite the challenging administration position as the head of department, it actually did not stop me from continue doing research, because I pursue doing research as my hobby. So also in 2018, after I have actually working for 15 years to diversify the applications of vegetable oil into the pharmaceutical and biomedical applications using the polymeric chemistry principle, I am fascinated that I am very happy to share that the Malaysia Oil Scientists and Technologies Association, MOSTA, has awarded me the Young Scientist Award. And then I also, our research team in last year also participated, and then we competed in the ITEX 2019, and we won another silver medal in the category of medical and health for our research product. So this round, our research product is a green polymer carrier that enhance the solubility and also the release of a poorly water-soluble drugs. And last year, I also successfully secured MOHE grant, FRGS grant, and 2 of our IMU Pharmaceutical Chemistry alumni joined this project to continue their postgraduate studies. So next, I will actually share with you why did I choose to be an academic career in pharmaceutical chemistry. Being a teacher, it is always my aspiration to teach, educate the next generation with the knowledge, technical skills, and most importantly is the professionalism and ethics. So being an academic, we have the following privilege. We have the autonomy over our teaching. We teach in our specialist area. We design the content and activities in class. And also we have the opportunity to supervise and mentoring our students, our undergraduate students, and also our postgraduate students, and also being keep up to date with the current trend and also the demand from the industries. And most importantly, of course, being a teacher is for job satisfaction. And next is, of course, is research. Being an academic researcher, we have the academic freedom for research. We choose our research areas of interest. And for academic researcher, we also have a lot of opportunity to engage with public and also with our colleagues by publishing, by communicating scientific, communicating our research findings in journals, and also to present our findings in international and national conferences. And being an academic researcher, we have the opportunity especially the academic researcher in the field of pharmaceutical chemistry, we have the opportunity to develop new products and to improve existing innovations because, as mentioned, why I choose chemistry is because I can actually produce new products in order to improve in for pharmaceutical chemistry field. I want to improve the drug delivery system and some of the formulations. And of course, being an academic researcher, we are having the freedom to collaborate with the industries, with the other research institutes. And because IMU encompasses all the healthcare disciplines, hence the interdisciplinary research collaborations can be very feasibly established. Just within our school itself, the interdepartmental collaboration supports the translational research from bench to bedside. And that's why when I, coming from a polymer chemistry background, I'll be able to venture further into the applications of the novel polymer into the pharmaceutical applications. And next will be, of course, the personal and professional development opportunity. So being an academic, we are given a lot of opportunity to attend the CPD, continuous professional development workshops. Especially in IMU, there are a lot of workshops, CPD workshops, trainings conducted for us to improve our life skills, leadership, teaching, administrations, and some of the technical skills and knowledge to update ourselves for research. And of course, the on-the-job training also allowing us to always be learning when we engage with inspiring incidences happen during TNL, research, and administrations. And last but not least is the outreach opportunity and community services. As a teacher, chemist, and part of the community, I have a strong will to be involved in outreach and community services. I appreciated our schools and universities' initiative and support in outreach and community services. Last year, the school, together with our pharmaceutical chemistry students, we marked a Malaysia Book of Record in building the largest 3D periodic table to celebrate the International Year of Periodic Table. So all in all, being an academic pharmaceutical chemistry is fulfilling and rewarding. Next, I will then share with you what you can expect from the pharmaceutical chemistry. What are the important roles that the pharmaceutical chemists play in the pharmaceutical industries? Pharmaceutical chemistry contributes directly to the healthcare industry in ensuring high quality pharmaceuticals to be continued to be developed, produced, and improved. And one of the very critical role for the pharmaceutical chemist is in R&D, research and development. R&D covers fundamental, applied, as well as product development. The pharmaceutical chemists, they can work in R&D centers, research-based pharmaceutical company and manufacturing company as the position for like research officer, RO, chemist, or analyst in the R&D department. Manufacturing and productions. Pharmaceutical chemists, they work collaboratively with chemical engineers and plant production personnel in the manufacturing department to scale up the reactions or formulations. Next is quality control and quality assurance. Quality management activities are very important to ensure the products are meeting all the specifications. QC is a set of activities designed to evaluate the developed products, and it is help to actually detect the any errors in the products. On the other hand, the quality assurance ensure that the process of a system meeting its objective They play a very important role in auditing the quality control, productions, and other relevant departments. So this quality assurance is to prevent quality issues of the product. Regulatory affair. For regulatory affair, they ensure the drugs and also the medical devices are safe and effective to be used in the targeted patients populations. Our pharmaceutical chemistry graduates can also work as a technical marketers and product specialists. So the pharmaceutical chemistry graduates, they utilize the pharmaceutical chemistry knowledge combined with people's skills and business expertise to offer solutions to their customer. So they will recommend the products and services that best match the customer current needs. To summarize everything, chemistry, known as the central science, it is part of everything in our lives, and hence pharmaceutical chemists, they have ample roles to play in pharmaceutical industry, as well as nutraceuticals, known as the supplements, cosmeceuticals, food, and other chemistry-related industries. In addition, the employment of pharmaceutical chemistry professionals is not only limited to the industry, but also in academia, government sector, professional organizations, NGOs, and entrepreneurs. Next, I will share with you some of the important role of a pharmaceutical chemist during pandemic. When most of us staying at home during MCO as a contribution to stay safe, and some of us also contributed by working from home, the pharmaceutical chemists, they actually continue to contribute in many essential services during the pandemic to support front lines. During the pandemic, of course, R&D, research and development has a very critical role to play, especially for drug discovery. So for drug discovery, it actually include one of the advanced techniques, which is in silico. In silico, known as computational simulations, they utilize the computational software and simulations in order to determine the potential drugs to overcome diseases. And also this drug discovery also include a very important techniques, which is the synthesis. So our pharmaceutical chemists, they have the ability to actually to synthesize a new compound, a bioactive compound. So sharing with you one of the publications that are being published lately in April. So this group of researchers, so they actually utilize the in silico methods, computational simulations, to come up with potential drugs. This drug is conjugate. Conjugates means that it's a combination. Conjugates of a peptide. Peptide is protein with a drug molecule. So they actually screen down by using the computational simulations, and they identify 4 potential conjugates, in which the authors, they have reported that these 4 potential conjugates, the potential drugs, they are now proceeded to the clinical studies. So this is some of the examples that the role of the pharmaceutical chemist that can play in drug discovery. And for vaccine development, the pharmaceutical chemists, they have some role to play in the vaccine development, because one way of the vaccine development is to inactivate the virus vaccines by exposing the virulent virus to chemical to destroy the infectivity of the virus, and at the same time to retain its immunogenicity. So besides that, the chemicals or the formulation of vaccines, they required the pharmaceutical chemist to understand the functional role of the ingredients used in the vaccine to ensure that the vaccine is safe, stable, and at the same time, it is still effective. Next is drug manufacturing. During this very challenging pandemic, the pharmaceutical companies remain fully operational even during MCO to support the healthcare front lines, since the pharmaceutical is one of the essential services during pandemic and MCO. The pharmaceutical chemists working in the drug manufacturing companies, they of course have many vital roles to play as per my previous slides. So in Malaysia, these are some of the antiviral drugs that being used to shorten the time for the patient to be recovered from the COVID infections. And actually in earlier March, so the FDA, US FDA, they have reported the shortages of these two drugs, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine. So because of these two drugs, actually originally not be meant for the COVID, it's actually for malaria and arthritis. But because in France, there's studies that in one of the hospital, they actually use these drugs and able to shorten the time for the patients to be recovered. Hence, in US, actually, they experiencing the shortages of these two drugs, but luckily the drug company donated these drugs to assist the US government in fighting the COVID. Hence, you can see that the pharmaceutical chemists in the manufacturing company, they have a very important role to play. And despite that, the symptomatic treatment required drugs for fever, dry cough, sore throat, diarrhea, etc., etc. So for the pharmaceutical chemists involved in the manufacturing company, they have their role to play in their respective department. Next is cosmeceutical and personal care. So during the outbreak, actually, the cosmeceutical and personal care industries, they have actually increased their productions to come up with hand sanitizers. So the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, they have stated that hand sanitizer an effective hand sanitizer should contain at least 60% of alcohol. So this alcohol actually played a role in disrupting and dissolving the lipid membrane of the virus. And next is the nutraceutical. Nutraceuticals, also known as the functional medicine, or you can understand it as like supplement. So during the absence of the vaccines, the Institute for Functional Medicine, US, the IMF, they actually have recommended a number of botanical and nutraceutical agents to improve the body's, to boost up the body's immunity to as a prevention to the COVID-19. So they actually have listed a number of it. You can go to their website and check on it. One of it is actually the curcumin. Curcumin is actually an extract from turmeric, the one that we use to for our curry. So curcumin is one of the being identified as the extracts that are able to boost up the immunity. And next is the cleaners, disinfectants, and the antiseptics. So the disinfectants, antiseptics that being used for sanitations in hospital, office, and residentials, they are chemical formulations. The United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, they actually have come up with a list of EPA-approved disinfectant against COVID. And also the US FDA and CDC, they have recommended the best way to prevent the spread of the infection is by washing hands using soap and water. So this soap is actually is a molecule whereby it has hydrophilic and also hydrophobic. So the hydrophobic tail is like a pin that able to penetrate the lipid membrane of the virus and break up the lipid membrane of the virus. And for the hydrophilic head of this soap molecule, they then hook up to water and pull the broken membrane virus to be washed away by water. And next is water treatment, sanitation, and waste management. WHO, they have come up with a guidance on the safe management of drinking water, sanitation, and waste management to everyone from the pandemic. So the Royal Society of Chemistry, they also featuring the contribution of chemists during pandemic by continuing the water analysis to ensure that the drinking water is safe to be consumed. And last but not least, the personal protective equipment, PPE. PPE is no doubt very important, especially during a pandemic. So Top Glove, our Malaysia homegrown company, also known as the world's biggest supplier of medical gloves, they have actually reported that their orders have been doubled, more than doubled, since the beginning of the outbreak. Our pharmaceutical chemists can also work in PPE industries. They can work in R&D, QA, QC, and also in productions. So before I end my presentations, so I'd like to share with you some of the pictures of our students that they have their internship taken at different internship site. So most of them, they actually are attached to pharmaceutical industries, and then also they attached to R&D centers, research centers, and then the internship training for our pharmaceutical chemistry program, they have quite a substantial experience because they have a 4 months duration of internship, and then some of them they actually opted for a mobility program to attach to a research group in overseas and to have some research experience. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Choy Sin, for your talk. So to get the ball rolling, all right, we do have a few questions being posted on the chat box. So we will begin with the first question. Can a chemical engineer also work in the pharmaceutical chemistry industry?
Okay, so chemical engineer, of course, they can work in the pharmaceutical industry, but their role is in the productions. So because the chemical engineer, they would work collaboratively with the pharmaceutical chemist. So for pharmaceutical chemists, they come up with new product, they come up with new formulations. So this new formulation, the product that they have optimized in the lab, they would actually tell the chemical engineer about the specification and all this, so that the chemical engineer will then work together with the pharmaceutical chemist to do a scaling up. They will actually work more on the productions and to the processes, and to make sure that the condition will be able to produce the expected products as what we want by the R&D team and the pharmaceutical and scientists and chemists produce products.
Okay, so thank you very much. Now, the second question is a very popular one. I think we have received this on many occasions, even during our road shows and our open days. What is the main difference between pharmaceutical chemistry and pharmacists?
Okay, so what's the difference between pharmacy and pharmaceutical chemistry? Okay, so pharmacy, our IMU, our school also, we are offering pharmacy B.Pharm. So this B.Pharm, when we compare with pharmaceutical chemistry, so the biggest difference is like you can see that this pharmacy, they are more on clinical, so they are patient care, they are for patient care. So for the pharmacy, they can normally you can see them working in the hospital as a clinical pharmacist. They also work in the community pharmacy as a community pharmacist. Of course, some of them also work in the industry. So they also learn pharmaceutical chemistry. They also learn chemistry as part of the program, because the chemistry allowing them to understand better on the mechanism of actions of the drugs. And then, but chemistry component in the pharmacy is actually a part of the program. They also need to be very well versed in the body system diseases, and then they also need to be well trained in clinical skills. So they have a lot of counseling skills and clinical skills where this part is missing and is not required in the pharmaceutical chemistry. So for pharmaceutical chemistry, so we are focusing on drug discovery and drug development. Talking about these two areas, so you can see that some of the pharmacy, they also work in the industry. So, but you will need to be able to differentiate their role, because the pharmaceutical chemistry, they actually, what they learn, they do not learn counseling, they do not learn pharmacy practice, but what they learn in-depth knowledge in chemistry for drug discovery and also drug development. Hence, you can see that a pharmaceutical chemist, they can do synthesis work. They can synthesize new compound, bioactive compound, and whereas this is not required by the pharmacy. Okay, so they will create new drug, and then another difference is this pharmaceutical chemistry, they are very well trained in laboratory skills versus the pharmacy is clinical skills. So they are trained in laboratory skills, hands-on skills, and then they have in-depth also training on the pharmaceutical analysis. So they are very good in doing analytical, and also they are being well trained in instrumentations. So you can see their role is different even in the industries, because like I said, they are more to drug discovery because they do synthesis, and then also they do well in analytical. And then talking about drug development is the formulations. So in pharmacists also do learn drug development, pharmaceutical technology, as well as the pharmaceutical chemist. So, but then the pharmaceutical chemist, they learn additional component in some of the chemistry component whereby it's not required in the pharmacy. And this fundamental chemistry, for example, some polymer chemistry, and then physical chemistry, and all this actually help them to understand better in the formulations, because a lot of time when you do the formulations, you will need to understand well about the polymer, the properties of the polymer, how you're able to actually utilize all this in your formulas. And then for physical chemistry, allow them to have a better understanding in when they are actually working on formulations, or they handle different machinery, instruments when they come to work. So, and also in the pharmaceutical chemistry, they also are being introduced to pharmaceutical engineering. So this pharmaceutical engineering is actually to introduce the processes and the machinery used in the industries to produce formulations, and in which this one is also not required in the pharmacy program. Do you want to add on, Dr. Chang?
No, I think your answer is quite comprehensive already. Now, there are also quite a number of questions asking about job prospect. I think since that you have also mentioned in your presentation, and perhaps one of the listener may have missed it, could you maybe just simply bring out or summarize what are the potential job scope that a graduate of pharmaceutical chemist can work in or work as?
Okay, so actually as what I have actually shared with you in the presentation just now. So the job prospect will be, if our pharmaceutical chemists, they can actually work in of course in pharmaceutical industries for all the different roles that I have shared with you. For example, they can work in R&D. Okay, so they can also this R&D can be the R&D department in the drug manufacturing company, or the R&D center, or the research-based pharmaceutical company. So and on top of that, if they work they choose to work in the drug manufacturing company, then they can venture into R&D department or QA, QC, regulatory affair, and then productions, or some of them they prefer to meet people, so they will be choose to being the product specialist. But on top of that, actually our pharmaceutical chemists, as you can see, that we are specialized in drug discovery and drug development, okay, and also with in-depth knowledge in chemistry. So our students actually they have a better they have some advantage if they want to venture into cosmeceutical and nutraceutical, because whatever they learn in pharmaceutical, the nutraceutical means the supplements, and the cosmeceutical, they're actually following the very stringent specifications and requirement practicing in the pharmaceutical. And our students actually, they are very familiar, and then they are very well trained in GMP, GLP, reading the pharmacopoeia, the drug monograph. Okay, so they if they want to actually venture into nutraceuticals, in which they following the pharma specification, and or if they want to actually venture into cosmeceutical, they actually have a very good opportunity. And then for the cosmeceutical, actually we also have some alumni, they have switched from pharmaceutical to cosmeceutical, and then this cosmeceutical, they do all those creams, and then for cosmetic use with therapeutic effects. So what they learn in the drug development formulation, and together with the physical chemistry, and together with the farm engineering that they have learned, they actually can do pretty well in the cosmeceutical, because they know how to come up with a stable formulations, what is active ingredient, how to improve. They know different techniques in which is applicable to the cosmeceutical field as industry as well, and then they know how to calculate HLB, etc., etc. Yeah.
Right, thank you. There's also one similar question being asked. What are the career prospects for pharmaceutical science? Now, I would like to answer this particular question here. Actually, our program is actually called Pharmaceutical Chemistry, and we also know that there is another private institute that is offering pharmaceutical science. Now, there is a slight difference between these two particular programs. In our particular program, the emphasis is the chemistry component. So therefore, once you graduate from this particular program, you are considered a competent chemist, right? And you are you can register as a chemist, and this is recognized by both the local Institute Kimia of Malaysia, IKM, as well as RSC. Our program is also accredited by the Royal Society of Chemistry from UK, whereby as pharmaceutical, for the other program, which is pharmaceutical science, the emphasis is being placed more on biological science modules, and the graduate might not be considered as a chemist upon graduation from the program, and you may require to undergo or take additional courses in order for you to be eligible to be registered as a chemist. All right, so I hope that answer that particular question. Now, there's one very interesting question, and I think this would be applicable to our prospect student. And the question goes, what is the prospect of pharmaceutical chemistry in Malaysia for 20 years to come? Choy, do you want to take the lead?
Okay, for the 20 years to come, actually, the healthcare sector has been identified as one of the 12 key economics sector. So you can see that a lot of emphasis is being put into the healthcare, and then pharmaceutical definitely has a very important position in healthcare sector. And then you can see that in Malaysia, we are now, even though you can say that we are not like as advanced as other countries, whereby they do a lot of new drugs, but actually we do have R&D in Malaysia. So the R&D in Malaysia, we are more on development of a generic drug, and then because we are still a developed country, what we actually aim for is actually to have a more cost-effective formulations, whereby to reduce the burden of the healthcare sector. Hence, the pharmaceutical industry, they're actually focusing in coming out with more affordable pharmaceuticals. So hence the pharmaceutical chemists, they actually have a very important role, especially for those that are very much interested in pharmaceutical and very much interested in like producing new formulations, new drugs. They can actually think about it from now. And of course, as mentioned, there are also other upcoming like cosmeceutical, as you can see, the Korea, Japan. Some of our students actually they do internship in all these countries, and one of our alumni also working in Korea. So you can see that it's actually all these is a prospect. I would say that it's a prospect that we will be it will be the upcoming industries, in Malaysia.
Right. I'd actually like to add on to what Choy has mentioned. I think there's still a lot of prospect for pharmaceutical chemists in Malaysia at this point of time, and that is because one of the key area or key initiative by the Malaysian government is to reduce the cost of healthcare. And since the last few years, there are actually a lot of patented drug which has now gone off patent. And I think a lot of these local generic manufacturer are, taking all these off-patent drugs to redesign or reformulate, or to I would say reformulate some of these drugs so that they could be much more effective in the delivery, or even improve in the formulation. And we can see for the last few years, there's actually an increase in the production as well as R&D in this generic drugs. So there's still a lot of room for improvement in terms of pharmaceutical chemists, because we do play a major role in terms of in the re-innovate some of these generic drugs. And in fact, in the coming years, we can see there will be a lot of local generic oncology drug as well. Right, so there's still quite a huge prospect for pharmaceutical chemists in Malaysia. All right. So the next question that I have is, do pharmaceutical chemists carry out clinical trial of new drugs?
Okay, so actually our graduates, they can work as the clinical trial associates. So they work together with the pharmacists. Yeah, we do have students actually involved in clinical trials, but they look at different aspects of the research. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, we do have. They might not take the lead for this point of time, right? Their job, their position is what we call clinical research associate, and they do work in a team together with doctors and pharmacists in carrying out and designing clinical trial for new drugs. They might not be taking the lead at this point of time. Okay. Now, the next question that I have will be, does pharmaceutical chemists need to undergo practices in hospital or laboratory?
Okay, so all right, so this is indeed a very good question, because all right, when come to always we will receive this type of questions asking about the licensing registrations. Okay, so the pharmaceutical chemists, they actually do not require provisional registrations. So this is a 3 years program, and doesn't require provisional registration, I will see it as could be an advantage, because our pharmaceutical chemists, they can work in any countries. So this even though there's no provisional registration, but actually the chemists, they are being valued by the industries if they get registrations to be recognized by the professional body, chemical professional body of the country, then they can actually be a registered chemist. So just like just now, Dr. Chong shared that about the registration as a chemist with IKM. So our pharmaceutical chemists, they actually being recognized by the IKM. Hence, they do not need to sit for any prerequisite exam whereby it will causing them have like additional exam modules to take, and then have need to involve like some further study, some exams, it will involve time and money as well as effort, okay, in order to be recognized by the IKM. And then not only that, the chemists actually, they will be able to like recognized by the international professional body, for example, the Royal Society of Chemistry and American Chemical Society. So all these societies actually they also can like giving out the Chartered Chemist Award to the skill developed chemists with sufficient working experience and also with some professional attributes that can be recognized as the Chartered Chemist by the Royal Society of Chemistry or American Chemical Society. So this is something it is very prestigious for chemists to be recognized by our IKM and also the Royal Society of Chemistry, as well as American Chemical Society. So also like just to stress again that our program is accredited by RC, Royal Society of Chemistry, since 2014. Hence, that's why our students, some of them, they will work in overseas. So they work in overseas for, many of them actually work in Singapore, Korea, Vietnam and Australia. So they can actually work in overseas. And some of them, they also receive scholarships from overseas university. Some of them actually they pursue over here with us, IMU, and some of them pursue their high degree in local university, and some of them overseas. So when you can see that they can further their study in overseas and also obtain scholarships from overseas, you can see that our program, because of accreditations by Royal Society of Chemistry, it's actually benchmarking with the international education standards. So some of the alumni updates that they actually further study in I think in Australia, US, UK, Denmark, and even Germany. So they also receive scholarships. So this is something that I would like to share with you about the registration and licensing. Yeah, that we do not require, but we can work in any country.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Q. Now, the next question that I would like to ask is that do all pharmaceutical chemists work in laboratories?
Okay, so not all. Okay, not all of the chemists, they work in laboratory. So if for those that working in QA, quality assurance and regulatory affair, and also the business development department, or those that are being a product specialist. So these people actually, they do not need to oftenly go to the laboratory. Okay, so, QC, they would need to be in the laboratory, but QA, they also have a lot of auditing work. QA, they see a bigger picture of the whole process of everything. And regulatory affair, of course, they have even more major role to look after the development of maybe coming out a new product and all this. They will actually need to study more. So hence all these positions, they might not be actually needing the pharmaceutical chemist to work 24/7 in a laboratory. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Next question that I have is pharmaceutical engineering also similar to chemical engineering? Perhaps I will answer this question. Now, in this particular context in our program, the pharmaceutical engineering is just one module or some university call it unit in the entire program.
It's one of the components.
Yeah, it's one of the components that we are teaching the students. It is not about chemical engineering, but it is more about some of the industry setup, and that, we talk about heat transfer between the instruments and the setup, and the student will be taught, will be given a little bit background and about this setup in the industry, so at least they could understand how the processes of manufacturing happen in the industry setup. And if, all right, there is an engineer who come to talk to the chemist, about production or upscaling of certain products, at least some of this jargon or engineering term or the setup could be understand, and the chemist and the engineer could talk on the same wavelength and the same page. I think the reason why we introduced this particular module or unit is to bridge the gap between an engineer and a chemist in the industrial working setup. It is not a very extensive unit. All right, it's just a very brief and introduction for our students. All right, the emphasis for this particular program is still in the chemistry component. Okay, all right. So the next question that I have perhaps is that, let me see. Is there any chance for research scholar to collaboratively work in pharmaceutical chemistry field in IMU?
Yes, yeah, of course. So, but we want to see that like you are coming from like you from what company, and you are students, or are you a postgraduate students, or you are actually talking on behalf of your company? So actually we do have a lot of collaborative project with the industries and also with the company and also R&D research center, and we do also receive some of the requests from the industries to provide consultancy and also some external funded project by the companies and also by the industries. Yeah, so do actually email to us, and we will be happy to know more and perhaps to be able to come up with a collaborative project. But if you are asking about if you are a student and you're looking for a postgraduate placement or project, we do have quite a number of grants that we receive external grants, and therefore we and some of it is external grant, some of it is actually some consultation work in which we also looking for students, postgraduate students, or some research assistant in carry out the research work. Yeah, so do actually write in to us if you have interest in doing research with us.
Okay. What are the current potential postgraduate opportunities or pathway for pharmaceutical chemist graduate?
Okay, potential of the, yeah, actually, I would say that depends on what you want and what you're interested in. Okay, so if you are interested in R&D, okay, so yes, you can actually come to continue your postgraduate degree so that you can even explore more. Yeah, so but if you are not so keen in research and R&D, so you can actually is competent enough that you can work in the pharmaceutical industries. And then, but if you are like looking for something, you are not looking for research, but you are wanted to like be more competent in pharmaceutical chemistry and analytical, so that you can maybe have a better opportunity in your career, you can sign up a master mixed mode program. So for example, for us, we have a master in analytical and pharmaceutical chemistry. So for this mixed mode, it's not 100% of research. So for those that not intended to be in R&D, maybe you can actually take up something like this type of taught course mixed mode. So it actually have a research component as well as some taught courses there in the program. But also, if some of you wanted to try doing research, but you are not sure whether you're suitable, you can also, if you want, you can also join taught course. Yeah, but if you are very much interested in research, come to join us or join other universities for the master or PhD program. So then you can be like explore further in depth in the drug discovery and drug development. Yeah.
Okay. Since that is about time already, I'll just like to take one last questions. Okay. Now the last question that I have is, can I help in pharmaceutical chemistry researchers even I am a full-time student studying MBBS? Now, I'm not too sure if this is our student in MBBS, okay, but now I'll just like to give my thoughts about this. If you are an MBBS student in IMU, I think we will be very happy, all right, if you are interested in the research that we are carrying out in IMU, and if you could identify some of the interesting, the area that interested you, I think there's no harm of you trying to approach the principal investigator, and you can discuss as to how it will be best, all right, to participate in those research activities. I think even if you are a graduate of MBBS, all right, post MBBS program, I think there's no harm for you to to continue on with postgraduate, all right, master full-time for research in one of those areas that that you have interest, and perhaps you can give in your thoughts about perhaps you have a different approach, all right, a different way of doing things that you have a better input, and that would to have a better outcome of that particular research area. Right. Dr. Lee, you might want to chip in something.
Yeah. So I agree to Dr. Chung regarding this. If you have interest, actually you can write into us, and then we will see like how we can help. But actually, before coming to the end, I think I also would like to actually share with you some good news from the program from my school, that actually this pharmaceutical chemistry program, so we are interdiscipline between the chemistry and also the pharmacy. So I hope that after these sessions that you all will have a better understanding, able to differentiate between the pharmacy and also the pharmaceutical chemistry. So because pharmaceutical chemistry is like as mentioned, is the science that lying between these two pharmacy discipline and also the chemistry discipline. And when we are if you want to actually distinguish us with other chemistry program, so I would just put a final remark that our specializations is in drug discovery and drug development, pharmaceutical chemistry. So and because of we learn in-depth knowledge in chemistry, and then we also learn substantial component in pharmacy. So our pharmaceutical chemistry actually our program, that's the good news to share that is actually we received the credit transfer for our students will be launched very soon, that our students can actually opt for credit transfer to Dundee University to do drug discovery related program. So this is a recognition that on our pharmaceutical component that is actually sufficient and also good enough for them to actually continue with a bachelor degree or a master degree in Dundee universities. And on top of that, for the pharmaceutical chemistry program, we also received recognition by the University of credit recognitions by the University of Sydney, whereby our graduates will be actually, if they are intended to do a Master of Pharmacy in University of Sydney, they can actually get credit exemptions for one equivalent to one semester for their Master in Pharmacy in University of Sydney. So this is, again, this is like something as a recognition to recognize our pharmaceutical in this program, pharmaceutical pharmaceutical component in the program. And for the chemistry part, chemistry discipline, we get the recognition by the IKM and also the accreditation by the Royal Society of Chemistry. Yeah. So yeah, that's all that I like to actually share. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee, for the information. So I guess that's about it today. That would be the end of our talk and Q&A session for today. I understood that there are still a lot of questions which we did not answer, but don't worry. Okay, we will take it offline, all right, to answer this question and repost the answer, all right, onto the landing page as where you have registered for this particular live talk. So thanks again for your attendance and your time to join us this afternoon. So I hope you all will have a great day ahead. All right. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.